number 13, and you'll see why in a minute. Let's just keep going down and keep circling. And then I want to circle number 17, number 21. Did you get those circled? Okay, because I'm moving on back up to the top. Number 25. And then here's the thing. From number 30, no, number 29, all the way to the end. So I don't even think I'm going to circle it. I'm just going to draw a line here, knowing that the rest of them going down are all circled. You can circle them all if you want, but I'm not going to mess with that. Okay, so what we're doing is simplifying fractions. However, the only hard ones are the ones we circled. The rest of them are very simple, okay? And I want you to listen to what strategy I tell you to use, okay? You know, on the anchor chart, we have 4 of these strategies. Is it half, divide by the numerator, divide by 2 or 3, or greatest common factor? Today, we're only using 2 of these strategies. Divide by the numerator or greatest common factor. Is it half is a lot like divide by the numerator, but we're not going to waste time with is it half today. And we're going to practice greatest common factor on the edge of the paper. Then IXL F8 is also practicing greatest common factor. You're going to like it. Okay, so the strategy we're going to use, unless it's circled, is divide by the number on top. Divide by the numerator. And if I divide both the top and the bottom by 2, everybody write it. You won't have to write it very long. That's going to give me a 1 on top, isn't it? And 4 divided by 2 is 2. So I'm going to circle 1/2. Now, are you hearing me? If I divide by the numerator, it's going to be a 1 on top no matter what. So technically, I only have to figure out the bottom number. Cool, huh? When set for all the others that we're going to use greatest common factor on, and I will go over that. So if I'm going to divide 6 by 2, what do I get? So this is the only answer I can choose. What's 8 divided by 2? Why am I dividing by 2? It's the numerator. And that's the strategy I told you to use. Are you with me? Okay, what are we going to divide by on the next 3? 5. Okay, so 5 divided by 5 is going to be a 1 on top, so I don't have to do that. I just have to do 10 divided by 5. What's 10 divided by 5? 2. What's 15 divided by 5? What's 20 divided by 5? 4. Oh, cool. How you doing? Okay, what are you going to divide by on the next 3? 4. 4. You want to try the next 3 on your own? Yeah. Divide by 4. And you just have to do 8 divided by 4, 12 divided by 4, 16 divided by 4. And I'm going to pull sticks here. So Lillian, what'd you get on number 7? Good. And Fernando, what'd you get on number 8? 1/3. Good. And Yasmin, what did you get on number 9? 1/4. Okay, you want to try the next 3 on your own? Go ahead. Jaden, what'd you get on 10? 1/2. And Adam, what'd you get on number 11? 1/3. And Jay Lee, what'd you get on number 12? 1/5. Okay. 13 is circled, isn't it? That means we can't use that strategy. So we can use greatest common factor, but there's an easier one. Can I divide by 2 or 3? Yeah. Which one? 2. So everybody write it, because I want you to practice writing it. So 4 divided by 2 is?
2.
And 6 divided by 2 is?
3.
So what's your answer?
2/3.
Okay, do the next 3. Divide by the numerator. Eileen, what'd you get on 14? Good. Lila, what about 15? 6 divide by 6. 1/3. Very good. And Sergio, what's 30 divided by 6? 5. Now, I want to go back to number 15. Were they trying to trick us? Yeah. Remember what I said. If I'm dividing by the numerator, whoops, it's going to be a 1 on top, isn't it? 6 divided by 6 is 1. So they were trying to trick us. Okay, look at 6/9. I can't divide by 6. So I got to pick another number. 3. Very good. So 6 divided by 3 is?
1/3.
And 9 divided by 3, good. Okay, do the next 3. Divide by 7. Caitlin, what'd you get on 18?
I got half.
Cody, 19.
1/3.
And Oziel, number 20.
I want 6.
Yep. Okay, look at this one. 8/12. I can't divide by 8. And if I divide by 2, I'm going to have to do it more than once. So we're going to have to do greatest common factor on this one. So you know how you have over to the side?
Yeah.
Okay, write this down over to the side. Write an 8 on top of a T-chart and a, whoops, on top. Why'd I put it on the bottom? This isn't working out very well. I'm going to do it down here so you can see it, okay? So I'm going to put an 8 on top of a T-chart and a 12 on top of a T-chart. And I want you to do the same thing. Over to the side or down at the bottom. Now, write it. This is greatest common factor. And you're going to get so good at this, you could do it in your head by the end of this paper. Trust me. So all I have to do is write down all the factors that multiply up to 8. So I always start with 1. 1 times 8. Okay. 2 times,
4.
and I'm done. Because 3 doesn't go into 8. Okay, on 12, I'm going to start with 1. So 1 times,
12.
2 times,
6.
3 times 4. Now all I do is find the largest number that they share. What's the largest number they share?
4.
4. So that's not my answer. That's what I divide by. And we're going to practice it a few more times. So what's 8 divided by 4?
2.
What's 12 divided by 4?
3.
So what's the answer to that one?
2/3.
2/3. We're going to practice it again. Do 22, 23, and 24 by yourself. Ryder, what'd you get on 22? Good. Alan, what about 23? Oh, he didn't get tricked, did he? And who's the next person? Morgan, what about 24? Okay. Now look at 25. Is that 8 and 12 again?
Yeah.
Didn't we just do 8 and 12? What did I get on my T-chart? What did I divide by? 4. Do you remember what your answer was? 2/3. Look at this. I want to show you something really cool. Are you ready? Are you ready? I'm going to highlight it. The number that's opposite the 4 that I circled is the answer. 2/3. Isn't that so cool? I know. Okay, so let's practice. Okay, so there's not very many that are easy left, are there? Okay, so what I want to do now, go ahead and do the next 3, and then we're going to practice the rest of the page. And I'll just time you on side B today. So Tyler, what'd you get on 26?
26.
Good. Whoops. I'm on highlighter. All right. And Isaac, what'd you get on 27?
1/3.
And Jarrett, what about 28?
1/8.
Okay. Now for the good stuff. We're going to do greatest common factor for 12 and 18. And then we're going to try and pick these numbers in our head. So see where I'm writing this? Go ahead. Write it the same place. Okay. So 1 times 12. What else? 2 times 6. 3 times 4. Okay, now let's do 18. 1 times 18. 2 times. Do you notice how I go in order 1, 2, 3? I do that whenever I can. 3 times. And here's how I check it. Does 4 go into 18? Does 5 go into 18? And now I'm back over to 6. Okay, so what's the largest number they share? 6. Does anybody know the answer? Oh, it was right opposite, wasn't it? You want me to highlight that again so you can see it? So cool, isn't it? Okay, now, whoops, I circled the wrong one. Let's try the next one without doing greatest common factor. What do you think? What number do you think?
3/4.
Well, tell me what I'm going to divide by. 3. So it's going to be,
3/4.
okay. What about 6/8? What do you think I'm going to divide by? 2. So 3/4 again. What about 10/12?
2/2.
What are you dividing by? So I noticed I divided by 2 on 2 of these. So it's 5/6. What about 15/18?
3/4.
Quit telling me the answer and tell me what to divide by, please. What factor do they share? 3. So I'm going to divide by 3. So 15 divided by 3. So it wasn't 3/4. Don't guess. What do I divide by on 8/10? 2. What's the answer? Okay, 16/20. Let's do some T-charts on these two, and then that's the last one, I promise. Everybody write them. Okay, so I've got 1 times 16, 2 times 8, 3 times?
6.
No. 3 doesn't go into 16. So I skipped 3, and what am I going to go to? 4 times 4. 5 doesn't go into 16, 6 doesn't go in, so I'm done. 1 times 20, 2 times?
10.
3 times? No. 4 times?
5.
Okay, what's the largest number they share?
4.
What's my answer? 4/5. Okay, let's try and do the rest of these in our head. What's the highest number 12 and 15 share? 3. So it's going to be, okay. What's the highest number 18 and 27 share? Good try.
2.
9. Everybody write it. 18 divided by 9? 27 divided by 9?
3.
Number 39, what's the highest number they share? 9. So it's going to be 3/4. It's not 9.
8.
You got it. Oh, that was fast. So 32 divided by 8, what is it?
4.
And 40 divided by 8,
5.
okay. The next one. What do you think it is? 9. So 45 divided by 9 and 54 divided by 9?
6.
Okay, the last 3 are the same number, and it's not an 8 or a 9. It's higher than an 8 or a 9. Higher.
12.
12! Oh my gosh, that was fast. So 24 divided by 12?
2.
36 divided by 12? 3. Hey, Seuss, what do you think 43 is? We're dividing by 12. 60 divided by 12? Your 12s are on the board. Just count down to 60 and see how many that is. 60 divided by 12 is? 5. 72 divided by 12 is?
6.
Okay, and then 48 divided by 12? And 60 divided by 12?
5.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. You're going to do side B. We're going to circle the ones that are not divide by numerator. Okay, do you see what I circled? 25 and then 29 and below. On the other side, it's 13, 17, and 21.
No, the same as last time.
So the same as last time. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And then we'll grade it. Okay, answers for side B. 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, 1/2, 1/3, 1/4. That was a pattern. 2/3, 1/2, 1/3, 1/5, 2/3, 1/2, 1/3, 1/6, 2/3, 1/2. Okay, number 23. 1/3, 1/7, 2/3, 1/2, 1/3, 1/8, 2/3, 3/4, 3/4, 3/4, 4/5, 4/5, 4/5, 5/6, 5/6, 2/3, 3/4, 4/5, 5/6, 2/3, 4/5, 5/6. Okay, I want to start with the exit ticket today. This is not for grade, but get your name on it. The reason I'm starting with the exit ticket is because it's a good problem. And it's easier than the first problem on your problem set. And this is just a practice day. Wednesday you have a test. Tomorrow we'll do a test review. They're all problems like this. And so we're practicing problems today that can help us on our test. Sound good? Okay, so I'm going to read this and then we're going to talk about what to draw. And you're going to focus. Mr. Pham mowed 2/7 of his lawn. His son mowed 1/4 of it. Who mowed the most? How much of the lawn still needs to be mowed? Okay, so there's 2 questions. Who mowed the most? And how much of the lawn still needs to be mowed? I want to start by drawing, what do you think I'm going to draw? A tape diagram. So go ahead and draw a tape diagram. And on my total, I've got one whole lawn. So I'm going to call it 1. And then we've got 3 parts, and these are not to scale, okay? We've got some lawn that is left to mow. We've got his son, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we've got Mr. Pham. Okay? How much did Mr. Pham mow? 2 sevens. And how much did his son mow?
1/4.
And we need to figure out how much is left. Okay? Now I want you to put your pencils down when you get this much written, because I'm going to draw something and it's going to spark your memory about how we're going to solve a problem like this. So don't draw this, just look at it and solve it. Got it? What's the answer? How'd you figure it out? You totally added those first, didn't you? And then you figured out how many were left from 12 to 20. And you can do that a couple ways. You could just do 12 plus something equals 20 in your head. Or you could do 20 minus 12. Either way, you're going to get 8, aren't you? Okay? So that's how we're going to solve this one. Instead of having 20 for a total, though, 1 whole is going to be our total. So that's the tricky part. Because I need to know what that is as a fraction. So if I add these together, what's my problem going to be? 2 sevens plus 1/4. And I need 3 equal signs, don't I? Okay. Oops. What's your common denominator?
28.
Eileen, what did you take 2 sevens times? Okay, so that gives you 8 28ths. Okay. And Fernanda, what did you take 1/4 times?
7.
So 7 28ths. Okay, so this is Mr. Pham, right? As in phone, and this is his son. So who mowed more? Mr. Pham mowed more, didn't he? Yeah, by 1/28. So not much. So 15 28ths. Now, kids always think that's their answer. That's not their answer. That's the answer to these two added together. You know how you got 12 when you added 10 plus 2? You still had to figure out 8. So what's my total here as a fraction? 28 28ths. And I'm going to do 1 whole minus, what did I get when I added them? So how much of the lawn is left to mow?
13.
And who mowed the most? Mr. Pham. Okay. And I really thought 1/4 might be more, but I was wrong. Okay, so now I'm going to go back and I want to do the very first problem on the problem set. So take your problem set in front of you, go to the very first problem. This is very similar, but not exact. And it's getting our brains to think. Okay, George weeded 1/5 of the garden. That's kind of like mowing a lawn, isn't it? And Summer weeded some too. When they were finished, 2/3 of the garden still need to be weeded. What fraction of the garden did Summer weed? So I'm going to have a tape diagram, and I'm pretty sure I still have 3 parts. Because we have 2 people, and then what's left? So we've got George, and who else? Summer. And how much is left? Okay, so get your brackets on there, and we'll decide what goes under each name. And this is one whole, not one whole yard, but one whole, what? Garden. One whole garden. Okay, so how much did George weed? How much did Summer weed?
2/3.
No. Unknown. We don't know it. Says Summer weeded some. And when they were finished, 2/3 of the garden still needed to be weeded. Okay. So now what we do, what was our strategy, boys and girls? Add them together and subtract from one whole. So 1/5 plus 2/3. Does anyone know? Raise your hand if you know the fraction for one whole already. What do you think, Jesus? He's right. Because he knows that the common denominator is going to be 15. Very good. Jaylee, what should I take 1/5 times? And Lila, what should I take 2/3 times? Is 13/15 my answer? No, it is not. 13/15 is just the answer to right here. Okay, so now, what do I have to do? Subtract. From what? From 15/15. Your one whole has to be in front. And if you saw a problem that looked like this, could you do it? Yeah. What's the only thing you have to do? Think of this as 15/15, right? Instead of one whole. So the answer to the question is Summer did not work very hard. She did not. Okay, I'm going to pause it. Okay, let's take a look at number 2. It says Jing spent 1/3 of her money on a pack of pens, 1/2 of her money on markers, and 1/8 of her money on a pack of pencils. What fraction of the money is left? Now, this is very similar, except for what?
You already know you need to know the
No? The whole is all the money in her wallet.
The left?
Nope. How many parts?
4.
4. She's got pens, markers, pencils, and left. So let's get that labeled. Pens, markers, right. So I guess what they're trying to get you to do here is be tricked, maybe? And think that there were only 3 parts and accidentally skip one of them. So 1/3, 1/2, 1/8, And we've got to find a common denominator for 3 numbers. You think it's the same? We're going to have to use LCM. That's fun. So write it like this. Oops. Okay, we're going to have to probably count more than 3 times. Do the 8 first. 8, 24. Okay. Do the 3s. Oh my goodness, I'm still going and I haven't ran into any of these numbers yet. Found one. Which one is it?
24.
24. Does 2 go into 24?
Yes.
Yeah. So what's my common denominator?
24.
24. Okay? So when I write this problem down, I'm going to have to write it just a little bit different. So the difference is going to be, I'm going to have more equal signs down below.
You'll have to have 4.
That's right. I'll have to have 4.
3 multiply lines plus the addition.
That's right. So the addition is all the way at the bottom, and I'm going to multiply 3 fractions this time. Okay, I'm going to pull sticks. So Cody, what did you take 1/3 times? That's kind of tricky. We have to think 3 times something equals 24.
7.
You're close.
8.
8. Okay. And Alan, what did you take 2 times? No, 2 times 3 is 6. Now I got to get to 24. Anybody know?
12.
Yep. And Jaden, what did you take 1/8 times? Good. So I've got an 8, a 12, and a 3. So she does not have much money left. What would 1 whole be, boys and girls?
24.
Good.
1/24 of her money left.
So she has 1 whole minus 23/24, which we could do in our head, right?
Yeah.
Equals 1/24 left. Not much.
She spent too much of her money left.
Okay, so do you think you know how to add it together and subtract it from 1 whole now?
Yeah.
Okay, because you're going to have to do that on your test.